is funny.
Love is funny. You have to love all these people. Spiritually, but seems for certain people, physically. You're actually your blood. They're just psychotic. They're benevolent psychopaths. They don't love you, they lust you. That's why love is funny. Queer, you would say, in the 1950s, even up to the 70s, there was old men still saying that something that was odd was queer, and that something happy was gay. That's what it used to be. You know why? Because love is funny. It's funny. Language is always being messed with. And then there's the day the music dies. Anyway. I didn't even pick that song. I was trying to play the other one, the blind instrumental. Where he's like, ladies and gentlemen, I am blind. But I am able to read because of the invention called Braille. And everyone's chuckling. Like, wait, let me feel that again. It's funny. But for some reason I was clicking on these songs and it wasn't playing them. And you can hear that if you wind it. I was like, whatever. You know why it came out that way? Because love is funny. I couldn't control the song that was playing. Do you understand? I can't even control these things anymore. I'm trying to play a song and it's just, I clicked on the name and then I clicked on the thumbnail on iTunes. I clicked on it and it didn't play the song. It played Love is Funny. Showing all my distant relatives in their Freemasonic garb and all the donkeys with all the priestly garments and miters dragging scripture through the mud. And they're related to me, unfortunately. And fortunately for them, the message gets to them somehow. And they don't stop. That's why I resonate so much with poor Krusty the Clown in that episode, the Treehouse of Horror episode, where he's like, yeah, like 7, like, whatever consecutive hours because of one little boy who won't let me stop. And he's like, dude, that is so horrifying. So horrifying. The face. It's like, how do they draw that face? Because they've made that face. That's how they can draw that face. One little boy won't let me stop. No. You don't let yourself stop, Pharaoh. Karashti. Karashti. Karar. Remember I told you what Karar is. Special agent. Krusty the Clown. Krusty Krab. Special agent. Or SpongeBob. He's a determined protector and he's a sponge. It means he absorbs. It means he's an untouchable. I already told you about the untouchables. The clay. He's friends with Patrick because Patrick's friends with him. He doesn't care about his perceived pros or cons because Patrick doesn't necessarily do him any harm. You put these things in your cartoons. Okay. So, I gotta read. I'll say this later too, but I want you to note I made an interesting connection. Just, I'll give it to God because I didn't have the connection. God gives revelation. So, Yehovah, to be specific. Xerxes and Ramses the second. In movies, there's a lot of movies, they portray them looking very similar. Think about how they've just look up depictions of Xerxes in theater and then look up depictions of Ramses, specifically Ramses the second. Ramses the second in Ten Commandments movie or in even the remake or most depictions. Then look at Xerxes in most depictions. They make them look very similar. I wonder why. Is it by design? Whose design? Are they saying it because they're part of a bloodline and they're just exposing it because they don't like the ritual abuse, whether it's physical, psychological, it doesn't matter. It gets a very similar effect. They just have to, it's rules of engagement. Some people have to have the physical abuse. Some people have to have the psychological abuse. There's all kinds of, which rules of engagement. So I'm going to get back to that later, but let me show you. Would you like to see the brown version of me? About to show you. Unfortunately, this young man has passed away. But let me pull up the picture here. Let's see here. I'm going to set this up so that you don't see all these ads. Okay, I think I might be able to show this on screen. Let's do this and turn the video off for now. Video capture. Here we go. Oop. Okay, I need to make this smaller, I guess. Oops, doesn't get smaller than that. Oh. Anyway, that might be good enough. Let me put it behind me. This might solve the problem. I used to do it like this back in the old days. So let's do that. Young Palestinian creator. See, they try to, I bet, hopefully he never called himself that. Hopefully they never fooled him into saying that. You see how he's monotheistic? It doesn't matter. He's Abrahamic in the least. And monotheistic, which is very important. It's one of the two greatest commandments. And if he loves his neighbor as himself, he gets eternity according to Messiah. No ifs, ands, or buts. First two commandments, you're in. No ifs, ands, or buts. From Messiah's mouth. Nobody can argue with it. If they want to, they can call themselves Christian. I don't care. You're not going to gaslight me. Anyway. Hundreds of online tributes. So basically his name's Mido Halami. Look at this kid. Look at his hat, by the way. It's rage, but the GE, the gimel, the investment is covered up. He can't control what's going on. Everything's out of our control. It's meant to show you something, so it's only showing Ra, which is disaster. That's what evil is. It's not morally evil. This man, just like me, can be Ra, breaking in pieces, pasturing, but in a good way. You can do it in good or an evil way. Evil only means disastrous, meaning something's being broken apart. This psychology needs to come back. People, they try to make you forget about biblical, scriptural psychology. Look at this man. He just wants to look at his hair on his face grows just like mine. Look at his ears. Look at his brow. Look at his eyebrows. Look at his nose. His nose is just a little shorter. Mine's just a little taller. You understand? His friend's name is Murad, which is the name of Nimrod. He can be a nice dude, you know what I mean? But he's not exactly like this guy. This guy's the one who they target. The other guy gets to go free, thinking he's free, but he's part of a spiritual slave system. But I don't want to get too much into that. And this story made me think of something because it says they're in the Khan Yunis area, and it's Nasser Hospital. Khan Nasser? That's Nebuchadnezzar. Nebu was their deity. So they're doing this in the Khan Yunis, unifying Khans. Tell you about this bloodline. He doesn't look as Asiatic. Do you understand? He had all these followers on TikTok and Instagram. He was just showing daily life for him. And he was trying to show that they're very resilient. He's trying to just make a statement. Please stop, because we're not going to stop living. You can continue to destroy, but we will continue to live, is just what he's saying. He's not making a threat. He's just saying we won't be destroyed. Right? Look at this man. Look at the contrast between him and Murad. One survives, one doesn't. They could both be good people. Do you understand? One passes, one doesn't. That's all. And they may be confused, just like the last days. Two will be grinding at the same place. Two will be gathering wheat. One will be taken, the other left. They can both be sheep in a way. One has matured into a lamb, the other a goat. Goats can be playful, they can be funny. Maybe some will be in the second resurrection. Do you understand? But in the last days, one will be taken, the other left. This happens physically before it happens spiritually. Do you understand? Look at the phenotypes of the ones who perish. Look at the ones who survive. It doesn't mean they're bad or good, necessarily. It just so happens a lot of these people seem to be doing something that matters more than the other one. Doesn't mean they're, because it's not moral. Good and evil isn't moral. Good is good for yourself and others. Evil is disaster for yourself and others. Wanting just good for yourself and disaster for others brings everyone disaster. Wanting good for yourself and disaster, you know what I mean? It'll get confusing if I have to think about it. You should just do it naturally. I don't need a law. I naturally put Elohim at my highest devotion, or El Elyon, to be specific. And I love my neighbor as myself. I love both these people. I just look more like the one who gets targeted. So listen to this. He taught me to, this is Murad. He says, he taught me to live my life to its fullest, to be strong and happy no matter what life throws at you, to be smart enough to have a solution for every problem. In the list of the people who made me laugh, Mito takes the top spot, so he's very funny. I've had people tell me this, that I make them laugh more than anybody else. It's like, yeah. I just hope that I'm not taken and these people are left, and then they're sitting there wondering why I was taken and they were left when the spiritual part happens. Even the physical part. And they're like, oh, wow, he actually went there and saw these people. And then, you know what I mean? And they'll be like, why aren't I doing that? Maybe it'll inspire them to do that, and then they'll find the truth while doing that. I don't know. But this is the part that was interesting to me. Because while many of Halamy's followers offered their condolences in the comment section of his videos, some also said they were saddened by the fact that Halamy had teased a secret project that he was working on in his final video posted before his death. Oh, interesting. Because I've been speaking to people actually in Israel and telling them what's going on, telling them to notice that the people commanding the destruction look way less Semitic than the people receiving and giving the destruction. This guy looks like somebody who studies a lot. What's interesting is they take him to America. This is the part I forgot. Look at this. He attended Harker Heights High School in the Texan city of the same name, Belton Road. How do they build it? They build it off the backs of people like me and people like him. They extract it and then they get rid of you. That's what nerd means. Nerd means to beat and extract. I went over that in previous episodes. Jock literally is a jock tonight. He's actually small. They even put that in the movies. The big dude who always projects all this strength, or a bully or whoever, they're actually the weakest people. They're jockton. He shall be small. And then the nerd is literally the one who has the actual power, and it's being beaten and extracted out of them. You can't make this up. So he was trained in America. Do you understand? They have to give it to him. They're watching his progress. And it's like, oh, you have a secret project? There's more people like me doing this, and it's like, okay, we're seeing more people do this. We need to. He just happened to be in the area that's easier to target him. So look at this one too. This is interesting because it made me think of. That's what actually made me think of the X-Men thing. I think yeah, the X-Men stuff that I talked about earlier. This guy's name was Xavier Virgin, literally Xavier Virgin. This in a weird dimensional way, it seems, is even meant to make you think of that. Because God pre-plans all of this. He knows that movies are going to be made. He knows he has to speak through us in ways for percent. He doesn't need blood. They won't terminate him. He mistakes that when he ends up selling himself to the wrong side. He mistakes that as being protected by God. All Antichrist will feel that way. Trump probably feels that way. Oh, somebody shot at me and I didn't die. It's like, oh, but you bled red. You didn't bleed blue. You're not a god. It's like, oh, but I survived. Maybe he thinks he did it with his mind. Maybe he thinks he has so much mind power that the bullet was diverted. I don't know what this insane person, this benevolent psychopath thinks. Well, I do, kind of. But I only know, like, different probabilities of what he's thinking. So, Xavier Virgin, literally, who attended Harker Heights High School with Halamy, he might have been an intelligence agent. I'm not going to accuse them. I'm just saying they have these people there either wittingly or unwittingly, and they do this. There's people all around you that can be asked questions if you do something that's divergent. Do you understand? They could do this online and just see what people post about you. Okay. Who attended Harker Heights High School with Halamy said that he was warm and always had positive energy. He said during his time here as an exchange student, he always had a smile on his face and got to experience a variety of different things that we in Texas could provide. He said, adding that his heart sank when he heard the news of his family passed away. He said, I wish I could call him at least one more time, tell him how much I wanted him to be here. So you get wish you were here. These people write these songs. Roger Waters, I'm pretty sure he was singing about The original guy, what was his name? I remember his name. I always forget. But guy who was the original writer and everything and leader of Pink Floyd. Then something happened to him, and now there's a surrogate band to see where you fans really stand. You understand? He probably wrote the Wall album, and he probably wrote everything. Roger Waters might actually be like the evil twin who's just taking credit for all his work, but he worships him like Cain slewing Abel, and he's like constantly grieving over the memory of this person. The piano player for Pink Floyd uh, passed away young too. I think his last name was Wright. What was his name? Something Wright. WR is Wright, I think. Robert Wright, maybe. He was a really, really, really nice looking guy. He looked like he didn't want to hurt anybody. He was the one who did a lot of the high harmonies. They actually the Endless Rivers album they made, they took unpublished piano stuff from him and put it in there as if they're doing it from the grave. You see, it's like you prove you're the sons of the ones who did this to these people because you paint their tombs. You glorify their tombs. The Soviets expose themselves whenever they glorify these tombs of the unknown soldier, whatever they're doing. They glorify tombs because they're the ones that put people in there. I don't have to glorify tombs because I don't put anybody in there. You understand how your behavior exposes you? I knew another person that got all the best of Texas. He's the son of the guy who created ISIS. Hassan Georgios Mikhailis. He's an agent. I'll name him. He makes YouTube videos admitting that that's his father. It's ridiculous. He thinks his father was some kind of good guy. Started ISIS. 90% of the people that are murdered by them are Muslim. They're Muslim because they're getting rid of Semites. And this guy's like half Greek. He Greek. He's a Soviet. He doesn't look Greek. He kind of does, but it's like something. These Soviets can't do anything. They can exercise as much as they want. They can learn to wrestle as much as they want. But they're little jock knights inside. I could turn them into a pretzel if I want to, without anybody teaching me anything. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to this book. It's been 24 minutes. I'm in limpid green, the second scene, the fight between the blue you once knew. Let's go. I don't remember the lyrics. Sound resounds the icy water underground. Jupiter and Saturn. That's a weird song. What is it called? Is it? It's not Saucer Full of Secrets. It's Astronomy Donomy, I think. Lime and limpid green. Second scene, the fight between the blue you once knew. It's talking about the sunrise. It's a very interesting song. It seems to be talking about the echo resounding in the bubble we're in. Do I still have the picture somewhere? Over here, let's see if I have it. Oh, I don't think I do. Let me pull it up. Well, it's interesting. I actually clicked on the picture that has to do with Livestream Vault, Livestream Media. Which one is it? Should be right at the end. Oh, of course, I can't find it. You can never find it live. You'll never find it live. I think I accidentally put it in here. Didn't I? Yes. I'm in a bit green, second scene, the fight between the blue you once knew. You can literally see the song he's singing. Something, something, I forgot. It says the sound resounds, the sun rising up. The sun resounds, the icy waters underground. Jupiter and Saturn, something, something, something. And he says Neptune, Titan, stars can frighten you. That's literally city. Ear, to terrify, strip away. That's why Elohim took Ibrahim, Abraham, Ibershem. Why he took him out of the Chaldeans. He took him out of the stripping away. He took him out of their system. So the bubble we're in is this. I forgot what this shape is called. It's basically that thing on the movie Inception that he spins, that spin top he spins. That's basically the way it's shaped, and it's reflective. So dimensionally, they can't get rockets up there because everything's reflecting. They don't understand what they hide from the so-called flat Earth community is that there's actually more refraction and illusion in a quote unquote flat Earth model than the globe. So there's more illusion, and they think there's less illusion. It's like, so they're and this is by design. You get people, Jeranism, you get globe busters, you get what's the other one? Space busters. You get Space busters have a lot of good information. They made a lot of good connections for you, but they're leaving something out. They only give you a bite of an apple. You know what I mean? And then it starts poisoning you. It's like, no. I'm going to give you the right thing. You understand? Like, maybe that's why people, they won't contact me because I just give it for free out online. They'll just join my Telegram channel. The government could just join my Telegram channel. And I get paid nothing. Aw. But see, I don't want to go run after it like a haze eye and get leprosy. I just want the experience of it. I don't want money. I'll be like, hey, can I raise cattle for you? I'll tell you some trippy stuff. And just nobody wants it anymore. And this is painted in movies over and over and over. They don't want it anymore. This is in Incredibles. Oh, it's the old days, the glory days when people wanted superheroes. You understand? Seek and you shall find. And it's like, now they don't want them. Oh, why? Because it ruins my Self-Termination Act. If you look at the movie, it's like they sued them for saving their life. At the end of the second movie, the lady tells the other one, the Mrs. Incredible or whatever, it says just because you saved me doesn't make you the right one. It's like, yeah, that could be true. Like with Sideshow Bob in The Simpsons, Sideshow Bob saves the children one time, but he still goes to jail because he should. I saved the children's lives. Whatever, Abby. It's too crazy. So yeah, that Palestinian, the so-called Palestinian, they're actually not. They call them Philistines to mock them. They're the real Israelites. They're just been Sovietized in Israel and in Gaza, both sides. It's literally just the two islands of Jurassic Park. They're genetically related. One is more light skin, one is more dark skin, and they use the darker skin as servitudes, and they treat them lesser. See it across the world, but it's most projected in these bloodlines that they have invaded, and it's in history. So I wanted to also mention really quick the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that they made 2011-ish, whenever it was, that a lot of people didn't like because it seemed unconventional to the regular one, the original one. But the fact that when I look back on it, those two that they made, where they brought back everything, they brought back Craig or Crane or whatever it was, the pink brain thing. The voice they gave him was very interesting too. Even though I liked the original, like what did he say? Like, oh, I gotta get those blasted turd. And he goes, oh, and makes weird noises like that. That's so funny. But they made this guy like the same, but he's like, I will get you, turtles. Like, they just made him deeper. And they made him like a weird, deep voice, eccentric guy. Like, ooh, I'm going to kill you. Like, it's like, what is it? It's funny, and he's like all like spitting while he's talking. And they actually made the movie better. People just don't realize that they got the lowered, dumbed down version of it their whole life. These people perfectly made April O'Neil. April O'Neil is Megan Fox down to the club thumb. Them making her the daughter of the scientist experimenting on the turtles, she's the one who actually names them. It's like they just made it better. Everything was presented. You almost can't make it a better version than they made it. It's just, but it seems so unorthodox to the dumbed down version, where they're just like cute little 70s, 80s cartoons saying radical. You know what I mean? And when I was thinking about this beforehand, I accidentally said that instead of saying Mein Kampf, I said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I was like, in my head, and I'm like, wait, that was a Freudian slip. What is a Freudian slip? Because they're mixing with this people and blood, they accidentally say the truth. It's like their blood is mixed with a little bit of truth serum. That's why it even comes out in movies and everything. Because in these two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, I might watch them again just for fun because they're so interesting. In the second one, they even try to use their blood to power their plan, to make their poison that they want to put out in all the world. And they want to make it out of the blood of the Ninja Turtles, who have to be in quiet and light splintering the darkness. Just look up, try to Hebraize Orokosaki. Try to Hebraize, I forgot what they used to say the rat's name was. Splinter's name was. I forgot. He becomes human in one of the episodes in the cartoon from like the late 70s or early 80s. It's funny they had Baxter Stockman. They made him like a nerdy white Hamite. And then later on, people got mad when they changed him into a black guy. It's the same guy, just dark skin. That's why Tyler Perry being Baxter Stockman is the perfect Baxter Stockman. They're both Hamite. They didn't change the character. They just changed him to a darker skin Hamite. They're the same person. Genius. These people are genius. I don't, and nobody sees it, and they see that as a power. I don't. I'm like, no, I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna make a movie. I'm gonna tell you straightforward what it is. These people don't do it. They've been psychologically trained to not do what I'm doing, to not just tell you plainly. They're psychologically trained. It's like an opposite of Messiah. They think they have to only speak in parables. It's like, no, there's chosen. You know what I mean? You're supposed to. You should. When people finally dedicate themselves, you're supposed to give them the knowledge. Nowadays, it just doesn't seem to matter because people are so blind. You just got to tell them everything straightforward. There's no more time left. So let me start this book before I get 35 minutes into it without even reading any of it. So let's go. So this is 10, right? I think this is number 10. So I have one more after this. And then the next section will be called Romeo and Juliet. It'll still be all roads lead to Rome, but it'll be Romeo and Juliet. And then after 11 more episodes, it'll be the Machiavellian Paradise Lost. And then I'll have to make up names after that. We'll see how many episodes. I don't care how many episodes. I'm learning by doing this. That's why I'm doing it. Half of why I'm doing is because I'm learning. Half is because I want people to see it live, because that's how you know things are true. And if it's not true, you can catch it live. Do you understand? Purposely make myself vulnerable just to prove it, because in weakness, Elyon is glorified. This man needs to write it all down afterwards. That means he's concealing stuff in his heart. I'm doing it live time. I can't conceal things in my heart unless I'm not doing it live, but I am doing it live. If people don't believe me, I don't care. So anyway, I haven't read this book in 5 years. 5 or 7 years I haven't read this book. And again, for context, I'm critiquing Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler, and I call him Mr. Hittite as a joke. So that's why I refer to him as. Dazzle the reader, masses, colossal system. Okay. So he calls it the social democratic gospel because remember, he's clouding his disdain for true Christianity as social democracy. Some will cloud it in communism, some will cloud it in capitalism. Whatever they cloud it in, I know what they actually hate. So he says, Mr. Hittite, I now realize the meaning and purpose of those brutal orders which prohibited the reading of all books and newspapers that were not read, and at the same time demanded that only the read meetings should be attended. In the clear light of brutal reality, I was able to see what must have been the inevitable consequences of that intolerant teaching. He's falling for the bait, basically. But he might be conscious of this before he writes it or before he gets people together. Because I suspect multiple people wrote this, but there are special people who are intelligent enough to write this. Doesn't mean that they're good or evil. It just means they're intelligent. That's all. See, he continues, the psyche of the broad masses is accessible only to what is strong and uncompromising. There's good and bad of that, isn't there? Destruction or prosperity. Like a woman whose inner sensibilities are not so much under the sway of abstract reasoning, but are always subject to the influence of a vague emotional longing for the strength that completes her being. And who would rather bow to the strong man than dominate the weakling? In a like manner, the masses of the people prefer the ruler to the supplant. This guy and his freaking fancy crap, and are filled with a stronger sense of mental security. He's supposed to be talking to the people, the everyday worker. All right, it's not inferior if you're just like, what the heck is it? What did he say? Supplant. Just say it. Just you're not talking to the common people. You're talking to your aristocratic overlords when you write this book. It gets annoying for someone who's trying to talk to the people. You see what I mean? Ridiculous. Filled with blah blah. Stronger sense of mental security by a teaching that brooks no rival than by a teaching which offers them a liberal choice. They have very little idea of how to make such a choice, and thus they are prone to feel that they have been abandoned. Let's bring them all. Let's make them feel like they belong. Call them wolves, call them bears, call them hyenas, call them whatever. They feel very little shame at being terrorized intellectually, and they are scarcely conscious of the fact that their freedom as human beings is impudently abused. Owen Benjamin understands this completely. He can write Mein Kampf, but then he's going to rule you like Hitler, isn't he? Trump does the same thing. He can write or ghostwrite or whatever it is, the art of the deal, but he's still going to lawlessly abandon you. it says in scripture they hate the ones that they are lying to, that they are deceiving. They hate them. They they terrorize them intellectually, and they're impudently abused. So, Mr. Hittite continues, and thus they have not the slightest suspicion of the intrinsic fallacy of the whole doctrine. Be fruitful and multiply. Don't be, oh, it just corrupted you, so that every time you hear something holy, you have this like corrupted version that comes after. Don't be fruit. You know what he says if you were a part of it. I can repeat it. They all do this. Trump does this with the grab them by the you know what. Gets other people to spread that word. Just whole thing actually means a cat. It's all just a Kabbalistic joke. So, he continues, they see only the ruthless force and brutality of its determined utterances, to which they always submit. They all understand this, and then, instead of just being the Han, being the gracious one, they're the Yin. They're the small one. Well, shalom, George Coggins. Nice to see you again. It's just so these people decide to be the ruthless ruler and to see them as lesser. It's so crazy. He continues, if social democracy, he's clouding Christianity in that. Remember, that's his hobo code. Hitler's hobo code for Christianity is social democracy. Owen Benjamin's hobo code for Christianity is gammas and churchians. And Trump's hobo code for Christians is communists or losers or whatever he says. Archetypal dynamics. Thank you. Those I like. Yeah, that word explains things very, very good. Thank you. Archetypal dynamics. I should probably write that down. That could be that might even be a name of one of the series that this goes, because I only have two names. I have Romeo and Juliet and then Machiavellian Paradise Lost. I could probably put archetypal dynamics as one of the sections. Let me write that down. Let's see. Name. Name. Mixing my M's and N's. That's weird. All right. So what was I saying here? So yeah, these people realize this and they don't they just see it as weakness and they don't want to suffer with it. So they're not a gardener. Do you understand? They don't have the patience. That's why scripture talks about gardening. So these people just scorched earth. And then they try to plant seeds, just scattering them. They think Johnny Appleseed is real. You can just like walk around and do this. And it's like, yeah, if the Most High has favor over it, but if he doesn't, you're just scattering seeds, making some false name for yourself. All right. But it is a good teaching. Johnny Appleseed is just teaching, telling you you should spread seeds everywhere, whether you know they're growing or not. That's the good from it. But some people can just pretend to be Johnny Appleseed. They're probably trying to warn you about Uncle Sam. Oh, he wants to tell you he's Johnny Appleseed. He's not. The seeds are third generation crops won't produce. Yeah. What is even kosher food? Morgellons in your kosher food. What's even kosher food? Okay, third third generation crops won't produce. I just got caught up exposing truth. I used to think, what would Hova do? Now I think, what was it? What's the guy from WWE? Vince McMahon. What would Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan do? That's a funny song. Earthquake by B.O.B. Okay. Let me just continue what he's saying. Within less than 2 years, I had gained a clear understanding of social democracy. Remember the Hobo Code. And its teaching and the technique of its operations. I recognized the infamy of that technique whereby the movement carried on a campaign of mental terrorism against the bourgeoisie, who are neither morally nor spiritually equipped to withstand such attacks. Aww. The tactics of social democracy, Hobo Code, consisted in opening at a given signal a veritable drumfire of lies, misinformation, and calumnies against the man whom they believed to be the most redoubtable of their adversaries. Oh, see, this would expose an antichrist, right? You know how it says something's keeping antichrist back until the time? Well, Hitler is being frustrated with what's keeping him back, it seems. Gardening has many layers. German word kindergarten, it literally translates to garden of children. Yeah, that's why they took over the Germans. That's why the Soviets worked so hard to make a Sovietized group. And then this man Hitler claims to be against them, but he's also for them. It's like that's his struggle. He doesn't realize that's his struggle, or maybe he does, and he's just like, you know what? I think most people are dumb, and I'm so great, so I'm just gonna rule over, skeletons. It's like that's a Lord of the Dead. That's Egyptian. River of deceit folds down. The only direction it flows is down. Let's see. So he continues. The tactics of social democracy consisted in opening. Okay, blah 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 blah. So they do all this. So what I'm doing, saying that Obama or Trump could be Antichrist. Putin could be Antichrist. Xi Jinping could be Antichrist. I just think Xi Jinping is the beast and that Trump is the Antichrist. He's the false prophet saying he's against China. He's wrangling China. He's the wrangler star of China. And he's not actually doing anything. He's selling us to China. His eyes look Asiatic. He said he looks to the sky. He tells God he is the chosen one between the US and China. It's like, he speaks against the heavens, and then he makes his trip, and his tongue struts through the earth, and I made the map. China, first dimension. Saudi Arabia, second. Israel, third dimension. The Catholic Sea, SEE, fourth dimension. Work like robots. Just taking orders. Just compartmentalizing. Just processing. It's probably who invented AI. Jesuits invented all this stuff, by the way, a lot of this stuff, and then they take it from the crown of Picts and Scots, who literally have to make things that can fool AI 300 years before, 400 years before, 600 years before, 1,000 years before. Who knows how old these Tartans are? Oh, Tartaria, it already happened. It's like Soviets tell you Tartaria already happened. It's like, no, they're just encoding on their actual kilts things that disrupt AI. It's prophetic. They want to preserve themselves so badly. Something came out of their fourth, fifth dimensions that created patterns that can fool AI hundreds of years, possibly thousands before AI existed. Abraham might have made stuff like this. His wife, I don't know. They made Joseph a robe of many colors. Do you understand? They made him a tartan of every color. Who knows what this thing looked like? AI would have would spend eternity trying to figure out this pattern. I'm telling you. It showed everybody. This robe of many colors probably freaked people out as much as this picture that I drew. Do you understand? A robe of many colors. What is his father and mother investing into him with a robe of many colors? And it's also had long sleeves. It was given to virgins. He was a virgin until he was given the high priest's daughter. It ended up being holy, though. But nowadays they try to do the same thing, but it's like, no, I don't want Pharaoh's. I don't want the high priest's daughter, some CIA agent's niece. I don't want that. Quite literally, not even exaggerating. Abraham Accords and such, yeah, Abraham Accords. Yeah, Cain and Abel. All the heads the same body. Yeah, that's right on the money there. Let's see, but all Soviets are they represent Antichrist. That's why Putin is a Soviet. He's a KGB agent. His priest that he confides in is a Soviet. That's the picture I showed, where is the shadow of it, and the fake cross is put on. It's not. Messiah wasn't put on a cross. He was put on a stake. He was tied to a stake, and there was only one nail, and it makes his arms into an aleph, which is to teach. But it used to be the mark for a taw. That's why he's the aleph and the taw. Anyway, let me see if I. So as we read through this, you'll see more and more hatred come out of Hitler. That's why it's even when I'm naming these things will start manifesting. When I get to the Romeo and Juliet, the part of the book is probably going to become more romantic again. And then when I do those 11 parts and it comes to the Machiavellian Paradise Lost, it's going to get very hatred again. It's probably going to be where he starts talking about genetics. Okay, I can't control this. I don't even know what the ones after that are. I only know it up to the 33rd episode. Isn't that funny? That's the completion of matter knowledge. But it also represents the missing capstone. 22 is perfect vision. There's a reason why these people develop this. They're trying to steal it physically, and they can't. They'll never do it. Okay, 54 minutes. Where am I at? Let me try to finish this page. And then I'll do the next one at maybe 3 o'clock. I'll try to eat something. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. So he says the social democrats go against the adversaries until this happens that I'm about to read. But remember, it's actually Christians speaking out against antichrists, which is holding them back until the time. He's trying to get rid of those people. Do you understand? So it's Trump. So they do this until the nerves of the latter gave way and they sacrificed the man who was attacked, JFK, simply in the hope of being allowed to live in peace. But the hope proved always to be a foolish one, for they were never left in peace. Every single war that was fought never made us more free or more peace. He continues, the same tactics are repeated again and again until fear of these mad dogs, Pharaoh means dog, these mad dogs exercises, through suggestion, a paralyzing effect on their victims. Though through its own experience, social democracy, he says, remember it's hobo code, learned the value of strength. And for that reason, it attacks mostly those in whom it scents stuff of the more stalwart kind, which is indeed a very rare possession. See, he starts with this language again. You're supposed to be talking to the people. Use more simple language because of who you're talking to. He's not addressing people, he's addressing his masters. They have less fear of a man of genius who lacks willpower than of a vigorous character with mediocre intelligence, and at the same time, they highly commend those who are devoid of intelligence and willpower. It's actually the opposite. I have more willpower. Therefore, Elohim gives more intelligence to those who have more willpower. It doesn't matter what their blood is. I'm saying blood can be built up over generations to make it easier. It's not going to gain you salvation, though. So the Social Democrats, he says in Hobo Code, know how to create the impression that they alone are the protectors of peace. See how this man became a hypocrite later? In this way, acting very circumspectly but never losing sight of their ultimate goal, a kingdom not made with hands, they conquer one position after another. Yeah. At one time by methods of quiet intimidation, and at other time by sheer daylight robbery. Oh, it'll come like a thief in the night. Employing these latter tactics at those moments when public attention is turned towards other matters from which it does not wish to be diverted, or when the public considers an incident too trivial to create a scandal about it and thus provoke the anger of a malignant opponent. I keep forgetting to get the transcript of the screenslaver's speech from the movie, so I think I'm gonna do that to end the next section or to start the new one whenever I start the Romeo and Juliet section. I gotta remember that though. Let me see. Flavor speech. I mean, if I circle it in red enough, I remember. Jeez. All right. Okay. These tactics are based on an accurate estimation of human frailties and must lead to success. Mm-hmm. With almost mathematical certainty, unless the other side also learns how to fight poison gas with poison gas. Oh, why does he use the word poison gas? Because the testimony of Messiah is a fragrance to those who are alive, pleasant, life to life. Those who are the walking dead, pungent, poisonous gas. You understand? Fight fire with fire, huh? I also came to understand that physical intimidation has its significance for the mass as well as for the individual. Here again, the socialist had calculated accurately on the psychological effect. And that's where I end this section. That's just perfect. Can't make this up. I don't even have to put notes in this thing or use a pen or a highlighter. I don't have to. It's if I did that, it would distract me. I need to extract something new out of it every time I read it. Do you understand? I don't have to read it again. I'm going to do it in this. I'm just doing it live. And you know what that does to the enemy? He says, "Stop the hammering! Stop the hammering!" Can't even read his lines right. He's going crazy. Like, it's funny. Archetypal dynamics, though, that's very interesting. I like words that explain things better, that articulate things better. Not fancy smanchy words that like archetypal dynamics is very good, intelligent word. Something like Trump, where he's like, I don't want to be braggadocious. I don't want to use uh I don't want to use pompous. What can I say? I don't want to use pompous colloquial terms or anything. Did you catch the pun there? It's Zoolander and Hansel mixed together make Trump. There you go. He's Snow Miser and Heat Miser. He's Biden. Do you understand? He is all the characters of Goldmember together. He is Goldmember. Biden is Goldmember, but every character that Mike Myers, even think of the name, that Soviet ditto, that Soviet shapeshifter Mike Myers, he can be everybody. Do you understand? You understand why he can be everybody? Why does he look Asiatic? He looks like an American white guy, but he looks Asiatic. Why? Why is the Halloween guy wear his face as a mask? Braggadocious sounds like Mary Poppins. Oh, there you go. See, there's the dimensional thing again. You mentioned Mary Poppins. She's not Mary. Mary Poppins is literally the demons of Mary Magdalene in one lady who comes up and says, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and I'm going to make you think the whole Holocaust is hidden in this movie, which it probably is. Do you understand? But Mary Poppins is Bloody Mary. She's Spirit of Bloody Mary. Victoria. They all say Zig Heil. They all say Hail Victoria. They're Bolsheviks. Victor Taylor turns into Steve Barrio. It's a little personal thing. Nobody but a certain tiny handful is going to understand what I just said. The Victor May Taylor, but the Steve Barrios. You understand? Can't stop it. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Let's play the music. It's time to eat something, and I'll start another one at like 3 o'clock, and then that'll be the last of the Oh Pharaoh, Mine Pharaoh section in a few days, however long I can contain it. I'll write down a ton of notes and start anew in the next couple days with Romeo and Juliet, but it'll all be All Roads Lead to Rome. I just do a section every 11, and it's gonna do something interesting. I'm just going with the flow. I'm not planning any of this. I swear to the Most High Elohim, I plan very, 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 very little. Very little. I love doing it live. It's like a drug. I'll admit it's like a drug. So I'm doing it live for that purpose. And it's proving everything right, in my opinion, in my perception. Hopefully other people see it that way. But anyway, let me start this music. Let's see if this is... Okay, it was muted. What do I want to play here? Oh, just for Mr. H. Mr. Hirsch. Just for Mr. H. Mr. Hittite. This isn't the right one. It's bot. For Mr. H, it's bot. I want to play the Who's Your Daddy? That's the one I'm trying to play, but it plays bot. Because Mr. H is a bot. Mr. Hittite is a bot. Owen thinks he's a time traveler because he's a bot. There must be some mistake. I never meant to let them take away my soul. Am I too old? Is it too late